Hello, everyone in Facebook, and this is also going to YouTube. And hello, Miss Frida Sophie Schertz.
Hello, Miss Rachel Bryan.
So today we are going to talk about, I'm going to be honest, if I didn't have the tools of Access Consciousness Xmen, I know I wouldn't be alive today. And I certainly know I wouldn't be able to stand up for myself. I wouldn't be able to care for myself, because I was picking up everybody else's point of view, judgment, thought, feeling, emotion. And so we're here to have a conversation about a 15-day energy pull. It starts on May 14th. And the energy pull is about really getting present with your perceiving capacity so that you can actually create what you would like to have. And we've named the class. Do you know the name of the class? Moving Beyond
Moving to your capacities beyond the insanity you think is you. Something like that.
I have it. Moving to your miraculous capacities beyond the insanity that you think is you. I mean, that right there. Yeah.
It's like already the title is like, what do you mean? I think the insanity is me. I am not the insanity. Like,
of course, it's more like, of course I am the insanity.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And so let's give people an inroad to what we're talking about. What is Access Xmen? First of all, it's a humanoid functionality, which is that we don't function from a linear reality. Everything is energy in our world. And so whether it be diagnosed, undiagnosed, ADD, OCD, autism, I have a highly sensitive, energetic body system, and I pick up other people's thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and other people's projections and expectations. Actually, to the extent, Frida, that I thought they were who I was, and they were what I was. That's pretty extreme, like.
It totally is. Like, how many of you out there like think that's just the way it is? Like, that's who you are and that's how life is. And can you speak a little about like how the Xmen tools actually, like, first of all, help you to acknowledge that it's not all there is, that there's actually more?
Well, let's start with, I mean, I'm just going to give you a basic story today, and then I'll go into the perceiving tool. So my daughter is in Rome, and two guys were selling high-end tickets to see the tennis, and she's an avid tennis player. And when she sent me the message, look at where I am, I immediately thought of Poland. Immediately, Poland comes into my head. And then she tells me that the two guys she bought the tickets from were Polish, and they asked her to sit next to them. Okay? Total magic, isn't it? Like, tell me anywhere where she sends me the photograph of her watching tennis, and immediately I think of Poland. Okay? And so we have this ability to perceive, know, be, and receive all information in the universe. And mainly we've used it against ourselves, because the one thing that nobody ever told me is that I have this ability to perceive all information. Okay? Now, if you have the ability to perceive all information, that perceiving is a capacity to be aware of what's going on in the world and what doesn't have to be, essentially. Okay? And so I would perceive other people's judgments. Nobody ever told me that doesn't mean that they're real and true. Okay? And so Xmen have this ability to perceive energetically. And as Gary said in foundation class today, what capacities have you that you're not using? I was not using my capacity for perceiving. I was acting like everything that I was perceiving was mine, feelings. Now, given that there's so much judgment on the planet, that means I was acting like all the judgment was me, which was actually disabling me. I was acting like all the sadness was me. I was hypersensitive to judgment, which is a beautiful capacity. If I'm sensitive to judgment, I have a capacity to perceive it, that it doesn't have to be on this planet. And so nobody had ever introduced that I am extremely aware that there was something wrong with me, you know? That was the finish line. No, I'm not normal. I have never been normal, and that's the gift of me.
That's so beautiful, isn't it? Because I know a lot of people, when they perceive something, they go into like the wrongness of themselves instead of asking like, okay, so how can I use this? Like, what's the capacity beyond this?
Totally. And you know, Gary also said, you know, when he says, what capacities have you that you're not using? He also said nobody wants to use their capacities because we're trained to fit in. And so if you look at, here was I for like 40 years of my life trying to fit in, or 40 years of my life trying to fit in, while never fitting in, having a completely different functionality. Okay. Energy is my first language. Perceiving, knowing, being, and receiving is the way that I function. You know, I would perceive energies. And for me, I was so different that I made my difference a wrongness instead of a capacity and a strongness. And then I suppose the part that's like, no, to me, it's ridiculous, is that I corrupted everything that I'm wrong instead of I'm strong. You know, what if there's nothing wrong with you? What if the wrongness is the actual key to your difference that you're not using? Because most people, you see, they've been judged and made so wrong that my coping mechanism was trying to get everything right. Or I had lots of coping mechanisms to handle what's going on around us with people in the world, because there's a lot of insanity going on in our world. And so when you look at this, instead of, I'm going to say, jumping away and coping with the I'm wrong, and running away from everything, which I did in my life, when I sat into everything and I leaned into the places that my point of view was I'm wrong, there was this beautiful difference for transformation and change. And I'm going to say, like, I'm the first in my, you know, the people that I grew up around, I'm the first in my family to actually use these abilities to my advantage, you know?
How cool is that, isn't it? Like, I think most of us don't even like get the change that we create when we don't buy into it, and when we do ask questions and not make ourselves wrong, because it ripples out to everyone. How beautiful is that?
Totally. And these 15 days, whether you're watching this now or in the future, these 15 days are really about bringing in the future that you know you can have, like actually using your abilities to create whatever it is about Xmen. And I'm still working through this myself. We seem to have this point of view that it's wrong for us to use our capacities to create a beautiful living. Isn't it weird?
Yeah. I mean, how powerful would we be if we chose to actually use them?
It's so funny, Frida, you know, the people that I work with tend to be like the most beautiful, caring, kind when they're being them. People, you know, that are super powerful. And yet they have this point of view that there is something like radically wrong. But the radically wrong is the radically different. It really is. It really is. I mean, I guess, you know, this road of consciousness, because it's all about receiving everything with no point of view and making everything greater because you can. This journey of consciousness is really about gifting you a beautiful living. And with Xmen, our brains actually go through the universe. We actually work much greater when our brains are connected to the infinite knowing, receiving, perceiving, and being of the universe and its magic and its miraculousness. And so we're universe explorers, you know? And
I love that.
yeah, Dane Hare, that's what he said. We're universe explorers. Dr. Dane Hare, check out his YouTube channel. And that's what we came here to be. And what if we actually went on that journey?
So beautiful. And like, thank you so much. Actually, even from these like 10 minutes, I'm already receiving so much. And I'm so excited to have this for 15 days every day, just like tapping into these energies, you know, and like, I don't have words, but like kind of like pulling apart all the stickiness and wrongness and heaviness and seeing like, okay, what else is there? What else is there? Yeah.
And thanks for saying that. That's the priority of the wind is so beautiful blowing in the window. That's the priority of the energy pulls, is to, we actually all are naturally a contribution. Like, this is not something that we have to pretend to be. Like, strip away everything that's not you. And you are actually a contribution. You know, that's you as a being, you know, and I'm pretty sure that we get lost, like, in other people's points of views when we do not recognize that we have this perceiving capacity, and then moving into what is relevant for you. And the target of the pulls, I have two targets. One is someone has the ability to be more present in their life with what they're perceiving, which will be like, that will be world changing if you get to that. And then number two is that you actually develop your ability to choose what is like for you, you know. When I was when I was 7 years old, my grandfather brought me down to see where his uncle lived, you know. And I was living in a rough part of Cork, and there wasn't a lot of nature. It wasn't beautiful. And they brought me down to this place by a river, and trees and forest, stunning. And I remember sitting there as I was making daisy chains, and I said, I will live here when I get older. I'm going to live here. And I forgot about this magic of choice that, like, is our birthright. And I was teaching Pilates. I've a house still in that very area. And I was teaching Pilates there by the river. And I was about 32 at the time, and I remembered, I will live here when I get older. And I had made that choice. I had made one choice in my favor, you know? And so what can you choose now? What capacities you can choose that will actually change the way you live? Yeah. It's like €30. It's a no-brainer. It really is. It really is a move to get the Xmen tools out there in the world. My point of view, everyone who's OCD, autistic, ADD, energetically, their brain connected to the universe, they don't get linear reality, they don't get morality, they don't get judgment, you know. Just because people are doing judgment, that does not mean it's real and true. The real target of this is for you to get out of judgment of yourself. It's if that's what you would like to have, of course, you know. Everybody has a free life. You choose what you actually create with that life. If you would like to get out of judgment with you and have more of you, more space, more lightness, be more like the trees. I'm looking at a big red cedar tree as I'm here just outside the window. Come join us.
I can't wait. And we have so many beautiful languages too. I think we have like German, French, Spanish, Turkish, Arabic, Polish, Hungarian, Romanian,
Slovenian, French. You said French. Yeah. Czech. Yeah. Yeah.
If you know anyone who this might contribute to, just send them a link, or what do you know?
Yeah. And now is the time for us to actually be the adults of consciousness and, you know, step into what you're capable of. You know, it comes a time in living where you can no longer blame other people for your life. You know, it's not time to to take full ownership of your choices and create a beautiful life that's a gift to the universe, you know?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you, love. We'll put the link in here. And yeah, and we'll see you. It's 4 days, is it? 3 days time.
Wednesday.
Yay! Come join us. Come join us. Come join us. Come join us. Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you soon. Bye. Bye.